Hi everyone, my name's Michael. One of my best friends, Ben, has asked me to film a short little video about my meditation practice. He'd like me to focus on sort of how I got started, what meditation does for me, and just a general overview of my practice. So I started with meditation probably about 20 months ago. A little under 2 years, when I was going through some bouts of fatigue, a lengthy bout of fatigue that lasted a number of months. The result of me just training a lot, training twice a day, every day, and then working a full-time job as the vice president of an advertising agency, also working on a startup simultaneously, and sort of not being social enough, I guess. A number of factors combined to this fatigue, and ultimately it came to a breaking point in which I was just so fatigued that I could sleep for 12 hours and it felt like I had just shut my eyes and my alarm clock had sounded, so I was never rested. And so I went consulted with a naturopath, and he and I decided that meditation would be likely beneficial for me. I also conferred with a few colleagues, in particular the president of my ad agency, a few friends, all of whom advocated meditation, said it was very helpful for them, and they encouraged me to try it. So I began with a very simple mantra of inhaling joy, happiness, and gratitude, and exhaling anxiety. So, I would sit in the traditional cross-legged meditative pose, and with each in-breath, I think joy, happiness, gratitude, and I would cultivate those emotions inside of me and those feelings. And with each exhalation, I would excrete anxiety. And this was a really powerful practice, not necessarily immediately, but just the idea that you can cultivate those feelings, and that it's within your control. So initially, some mornings I would wake up, and I usually do it for 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes longer. I set a little alarm for the end, and so initially, some mornings I would just want to stand up and think, I don't really have time for this today, I got to do some work, have to do whatever, but I would endure, and then slowly but surely it became more enjoyable and easier, and getting into deep meditative spaces in which I wasn't thinking anymore, I was just being, which is a great feeling. And so for the last almost 2 years, I've been practicing more or less every day for around 20 minutes. Some days I don't. I would say I probably average 6 days a week. And I've had a variety of mantras that I go through. Sometimes I focus on just gratitude in general. It's one of my favorite practices, just expressing gratitude for all things. I'll thank things individually, ranging from some of my best friends, to my family, to colleagues, to people that are simply acquaintances, to people I've never met yet, to people who have come before me, to the people that will come after me, to the plants, to the insects, to the inanimate objects of our world, to the universe as a whole, to myself, to each and everything. And I find that when I express gratitude for all of these things, it provides me with an absolutely incredible feeling of peace. Other times I focus on sending love to the universe and to each and everything, and then receiving it back from all of those things. So just as an example, I would exhale for love for the runner that's jogging by me right now. And then on the inhale, I would breathe in love from that person. And I suppose to someone who hasn't meditated before, it might seem, hippy-dippy and you're not sure about the validity of this, but just, give it a try. I think you'll see the benefit of it because you will feel that love. And I recognize that the entire universe radiates from love. That's what it's made of. And that's a great feeling as well. So another thing that meditation provides is simply mindfulness. So I've heard it said that observation without judgment is the highest form of knowledge, and that certainly resonates with me. I'll sit there and just watch the thoughts pass. I won't analyze them. It'll just be like a cloud floating through the sky. And it doesn't matter if the thought is a stressful one or an incredibly happy one. I'll just watch it float by. I won't really engage with it. I'll just observe it. And the same can be done with emotions. A teacher of mine explained to me that emotions are actually in motion. They are not yours. They are not you. But they're simply passing through you. And this goes for every emotion, ranging from anger to happiness to ecstasy. They're all passing through you. And they can be very tempting to latch onto. Happiness is a great experience, so you want to become that emotion oftentimes. And I mean, equally, anger can be a tempting experience to latch onto. I'm sure we can all think of examples in which we've become angry, or we've seen other people become angry. But once you're able to just observe those emotions, then you radiate more from a place of peace, and you have more control. I guess I'm not sure if that's the right word I'm looking for, but by observing those emotions, you don't have to succumb to anger, for example. And you can always operate from a place of peace. And so when you're feeling sad, for example, what will happen with me is, we're sort of like the planet itself. The planet isn't always sunny and bright and the sun shining. There are rainy days. In Toronto here, there's a cold winter. And our minds and our bodies and our souls go through similar cycles. So once you can observe your emotions, sometimes when I'm feeling down, I think, oh, Michael's feeling down today, as opposed to wallowing in my sorrow and becoming that sadness. And then similarly with happiness, you watch it, you observe it. Meditation it permeates my entire life. It's not just the 20 minutes in the morning. It's everything. So just now I did a meditation in this beautiful park. Not sure if that's showing up, but the sun's probably beaming into it. But, I'm surrounded by big trees, high grasses, a running river, the park over there, the equipment where I just did my gymnastics and some dancing this morning. And so this morning I focused on awareness and observation. And admittedly, for the first part of it, I was just thinking about what I was going to say on this video. And then I got into a much deeper, tranquil space in which I simply observed all the sensations I was experiencing. So the sun shining on my face, the grass against my legs, an insect crawling up my shorts, and the sounds of crickets in my ears, inside of me, and a plane going by overhead. And recognizing that all these things are one, and breaking through the illusion of separation. So I oftentimes during meditation go beyond my body and recognize that I'm not just my body and I'm not just my mind, and that the earth itself is my body, the universe as a whole is my body. the recognition that I don't live in the universe, that I am of the universe, that I am the universe, that we all are the universe. Carl Sagan has famously said that we are a way for the universe to know itself, which is a really cool concept and, to me, incredibly liberating. And I don't think that this applies only to humans. I think that this applies to insects, to trees, even to inanimate objects. I'm not convinced that there's a threshold or I'm not convinced that it requires a certain molecular arrangement in order for something to express consciousness. What is the threshold for consciousness? How many molecules need to combine before we have a conscious being? I think that there's a certain structure and arrangement required for human consciousness, surely, but I don't think that we need to impose our form of consciousness onto other entities. So I think trees have a consciousness that is just different from human consciousness, but it's absolutely conscious. And similarly with an inanimate object, because I believe that each and every molecule is conscious, simply just in a way that differs from human consciousness. And recognizing that I am a part of all of that, that it's all one, liberates me from getting caught up in things that are unimportant or that don't serve me well. And it allows resistance to dissipate from my life, enabling me to sort of flow with the rhythm of the universe and flow with the rhythm of myself and the rhythm of my dreams. And my meditation I've been working on some incredibly inspiring projects as of late. So inspiring that I find it difficult to sleep for the last couple months. I'm typically a guy who likes to get 9 hours a night, but recently I've only been sleeping 5 or 6 because I'll wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. just super excited to work on what I'm doing. And that's in a business sense, and that's also in a spiritual sense. I might be excited to meditate, or I might be excited to do movement stuff, to do some handstands or parkour, or to work on my backflip, or to dance. And so I see all of these things. Once you can implement mindfulness, then each and every thing you do throughout your life becomes meditative almost, and becomes enjoyable. When you recognize the beauty in a blade of grass, you can be mesmerized in just its absolute beauty, or just these guys biking by. There's a ton of beauty in all of it, and when you can appreciate that, it makes your life much more wonderful instead of waiting for big moments to occur. Oftentimes we get caught up in looking forward to a vacation that we have, or going to a party, or whatever. But when you can recognize that just simply sitting and being in the grass, or even just inside your home, how beautiful that is, and how beautiful you are, and how beautiful all things are, then everything just becomes wonderful. And that's, it's a great place to come from and to emanate from. And I don't feel that all the time. As I mentioned, some days I'm down and, I watch those emotions pass through me. And so from a scientific sense, I suppose I'm cultivating positive emotions that, secrete positive hormones, or that make me feel positive and activate certain neurotransmitters. But I think the overall sense that meditation provides is beyond the scientific understanding. Not to say that we can't get there, but we're working towards it, I guess. So in terms of getting started with a meditation practice, if you're new to it, you can find some free meditative, guided meditations online. One simple one that I've used before, pretty basic, is Deepak Chopra offers some free online ones. He'll do like a 21-day challenge every once in a while, and it's just 15 to 20 minutes. You listen on your iPod or your phone and just stream it, and he'll guide you through a meditation. Some series focus on abundance, others focus on love or gratitude or awareness, and all of these things contribute to your overall self. There's just a guy playing the bongos over there in the park. Yeah, and you can develop your own mantras. I mean, my practice isn't all that formal or structured. I sort of just do some movement each morning. I move around for 20 minutes like an animal, or sometimes I'll do it a little bit longer, do some strength work. And then afterwards I sit down for that 15 to 20, and that's when I choose what I'll focus on. And as I mentioned, sometimes it's love, sometimes it's gratitude, sometimes it's awareness, sometimes I concentrate on opening up my heart chakra, or focusing on the third eye chakra, or the crown chakra, or the throat chakra. And yeah, so I guess to sum it up, because I've been rambling on a bit here, funnily enough, I didn't fully premeditate this talk. If you want to get started, all you have to do, I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but you just have to start. Just sit down, and maybe you can start with the one I started with. So inhaling joy, happiness, and gratitude, and exhaling anxiety, and see what comes. You might experience nothing at all for the first little while. You might experience anxiety or agitation or an itch, or you might experience something incredibly profound immediately. Who knows? Eventually you might recognize that you can tap into universal consciousness and infinite wisdom, because we all have access to that. If we just simply observe and be, we can, in a sense, know all things, because we've all existed forever. Carl Sagan again has said, we are all stardust. So we never stop existing. Our form changes, but we've always been here. I know I'm getting a little spiritual, not religious at all, but I've certainly become increasingly spiritual through my meditation practice, and through my life in general over the last couple years. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm really grateful for all of it. So I guess I'll sum it up now, and I encourage you to try meditation. I'm not 100% convinced it's for everybody. I mean, maybe it doesn't serve everyone well, but just give it a try, and maybe commit to doing it for 20 straight days or something, and just see what happens. If you start feeling better, if you start feeling more at peace, it's probably a good sign that it's worth continuing. And yeah, I wish you all the best on your journey, because that's what all of this is about. It's about the journey. And yeah, so thank you for watching this video, and namaste.